Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have, well, these names are reversed. That's definitely Mark on the right side, who will be playing Goblins. And Ted is going to be on Izzet Delver, one of the matchups that everybody needs to be prepared for, as it is, at this point, the kind of widely believed best deck in the format. It has had a ton of new pickups, and we've got a Delver of Secrets. Look to flip as soon as possible. Wasteland denying the mana, and Forked Bolt, a very powerful sorcery, but you know, it is a sorcery, so this could drop the shields if this Delver turns sideways, as it's apt to do. Could see a surprise lackey during the end step. Could do. Passes, nope. Mercifully, no Goblin lackey. Picks up. And Goblin's very good at engaging in battle with other creatures. You've got Munitions Expert, you've got Aether Vial for Flash, have a whole lot of bodies. Now, wings are an issue. Not going to be able to really block creatures with flying. You're going to have to shoot them down from the air, but Goblins is up to the task. Also a large amount of card selection and card advantage available. And I do not know this one. What is this? We've got a Goblin Crater Maker popping in response to this hybrid card. And that is a lesson for all of you aspiring players. Things that attach to your creatures bring with them a very strong liability, and we just saw it there. Forked Bolt taking down both guys, replacing itself with a 1/1, so Forked Bolt essentially just clearing out the front half of Mogg War Marshal. Does remain a single 1/1, so Goblins will do this damage 1 point at a time if it has to. Sling Gang Lieutenant. Now we've got 3 more 1/1s, one of them with a very strong activated ability. Going to give this deck some significant reach, and also the ability to stabilize. Badlands is found. Sling Gang Lieutenant, not legendary, so no shenanigans with bouncing it and replaying it mercifully, but there are a bunch of legends and goblins now. Hence the inclusion of a main deck Caracas. Mogg War Marshal now is a pretty good deal. For 2 mana, you get to sack the card itself to Sling Gang Lieutenant and end up with 2 more 1/1s. It's just swarm of 1/1s here. And now Pashalik Mons for the 2-hit combo. Sling Gang Lieutenant allows you to sack the Goblins to drain, and then Pashalik Mons does an extra point with the trigger. It's a build your own Siege Gang commander without needing to use mana, which is absolutely incredible in terms of the power level there relative to older builds. I mean, we are talking about a format where you can show and tell and ad nauseum, kill people with tendrils on the first turn, but Goblins finds a way with these strong new printings to stay competitive and fun. Goblins is one of those decks that you can play in just about any format, and Mark the Goblin King, of course, has a whole collection of championship playmats. And we are getting back to the table for July 3rd with Legacy. So, of course, this is filmed in store as part of our weeklies, but we have our first monthly event coming up July 3rd. Limited seating for that. We are getting the store ramped up to be able to hold those team events. I definitely, by the end of July, an eye on the calendar, we will have team events. I'm leaning towards, well, it's definitely going to be Modern and Legacy at the least. It's a question of what the third format is. Could be Vintage, could be Pioneer. I'm leaning toward Pioneer. I do like the idea of Vintage. That is a complicated thing to make happen. We'll do one of those by the end of the year for certain. No doubt about that. Delver has Force of Will and Daze. And that is not going to be good enough. Goblin's a really challenging deck to play against at times because it has cards like Cavern of Souls and Aether Vial. A lot of the time, cards that you value highly end up being total garbage. Force of Will, for example, is a card that is already somewhat weak versus Goblins. Given just how grindy it is, you're setting yourself up for a 2-for-1 against a deck that is very happy to get into the mud and roll around and just trade cards and win with a bunch of 1/1s if need be. It's some of these games are just the perfect personification of a train wreck. I mean, just literally beating people to death with 1/1s over the course of several turns. That is not what you think of as a legacy deck, but it is actually the heir to, I mean, at one point, the best deck in the format. Goblins, when Legacy first started, was actually the best deck. You had really everything that you could want. A fast clock, mana denial. It was a force to be reckoned with. Going to that first Legacy GP, it was actually, to the degree that Blue-Red Delver is thought of as the best deck now, it was thought of as the best deck back then. Tutoring, card drawing, card advantage. Deck has just gotten better. A Braid takes out the Aether Vial. Another Aether Vial replaces it. It's a Daze. Oh no. Wasteland. Oh, that is, I would argue, an error there on Mark's side of the board. I think you Wasteland that island prior to playing the Aether Vial. Shuts off Daze. You're going to do it anyways. And, you could always pay the 1 with the Wasteland too if you want to sequence it differently. But now we have a Chalice of the Void. May have been part of his calculation. Try and get that Daze out of the hand to make Chalice resolve. See if Mark sees the video, what his thoughts are in hindsight about that one. But we've got a Matron grabbing a Goblin Ringleader. Guy is going to look to create some card advantage. Hopefully not a fistful of lackeys. That Chalice at 1 in play. Wasteland takes out the island. And now Gempalm Incinerator KOs that Delver of Secrets, and Matron commences the beatings. No blue mana on Delver's side, just a basic mountain and a Wasteland. And 4 mana for Ringleader. And a little bit of resignation in the body language there for Ted, as that is a devastating blow. 4 goblins added to hand. That is like a 5-card swing. You get a 2/2 hasty body, which you actually want. Wasteland trading with 2 cards happily, and then Cavern of Souls coming down. At this point, Goblin Lackey comes down through Cavern of Souls, making that Chalice very one-sided. This is not the result you're looking for. Sling Gang Lieutenant comes in off of Goblin Lackey, and now all sorts of damage. Ted shows Blazing Volley and a few cards, but none of it going to be enough to save him. The Blazing Volley could have potentially been used in response to the ETG there. I don't know that that would have been enough to impact the game at all, but that is exactly what Goblins is hoping to do.